Could the media be to blame for all this talk of recession? And is it possible that things are being made to seem worse than they really are to get a Democrat in the White House?
The author of Freedomnomics, John Lott Jr., takes a look at history and has some very interesting observation about what we're going through right now. John, you don't argue with the fact that things aren't great economically, correct?
Things have slowed down, but what often happens right now is people are exaggerating some parts that aren't doing well and not looking at the whole picture. I think it's very hard over the last year to not think that things basically have been doing okay. I mean, there's actually been some times over the last year where things like the GDP growth have grown at phenomenally fast rates, like part of last year.
John, here's what's interesting, is that lots of Americans are nostalgic for the 1990s and the Clinton administration when the economy was seen in such a rosy way. And yet you say there are interesting parallels between that time and now, starting with, say, unemployment. The unemployment rate today and during Bill Clinton's the average unemployment during his presidency is exactly the same, 5.2%. Yet you did some interesting research where you did a nexus search and you looked at all of the newspaper headlines from 3 months during the Clinton presidency and during 1 month now, and you found what about recession?
Right. Well, if you look at the newspaper coverage during July through September 2000, where the economy was actually shrinking, and compare it to last year, the same period where the economy was growing at a really incredibly fast 4.9%, you had 78% more news stories mentioning a recession last year when it was growing fast than 2000 when the economy was actually shrinking.
So John, the media is playing into it. You're not saying the media is forcing oil prices higher. You're not saying anything about that, but you're saying perception, consumer confidence is controlled by what people hear and read.
Yeah, I think it matters a lot. I mean, you talk to people, they think unemployment's high. Right now, as you're just saying, I mean, it's 4.8%. The average during the Clinton administration was 5.2. The average during the whole Bush administration so far has been 5.2 also.
And yet, John, we have to say that Ben Bernanke, the Fed chair himself, came out and said yesterday that the economy is showing signs of recession. So it's not just a media invention.
Well, I think the media has been talking about this for a long time, for many months, and I think it's had some impact on confidence. I mean, one thing that's interesting is just to compare how negative news stories, I think, do affect people's perceptions about how well the economy's doing. And during all of 2000, if you look at surveys of consumer confidence, people never thought we were in a recession, and yet we were actually at the time. And you look at surveys from last year, even though the economy was growing fast, by no way, by any definition in a recession.
Right.
Gotcha.
Hey, John, how well did you do in school? Straight A's all the time, correct?
I'm sure I had 1 or 2 classes that were
I doubt it. John Lott Jr., thanks for joining us.
Thanks,
Thank
John.
you very much.